Hello cherubs, you will notice that in this video I am not in my usual location. I'm actually in a hotel right now. I'm in a different part of the country at the moment, visiting friends and family and just taking a little break from working with clients, working a little bit on my book. But I felt like I really wanted to make this particular video because it can't really wait any longer, I don't think. This is something that I have addressed in posts on Facebook, Instagram, and my YouTube community tab in the last couple of months, but now I feel like I also need to make a video about it as well. We have definitely an unfortunate development occurring in our industry right now. And by that, I mean the field that I work in, okay? So like people that give spiritual guidance, people that give tarot readings, people that deliver like distance Reiki, people that do birth charts, astrological birth charts, anything like that, anything that is a deliverable product or service that you can do via Skype or Zoom, or you can send through via email, that is metaphysical or spiritual or psycho-spiritual in nature. We are being inundated right now, fucking inundated with scammers. People just ripping off our identities, pretending to be us, starting entirely different accounts where they take our photos, they take our username and try and adjust it to be as close to our username as possible. They take our profile photos, they steal our, bios and the captions for our images, and they basically just follow all of our followers and pretend to be us and start reaching out to our followers, offering readings for money or offering birth charts for money, whatever it might be. Now, I'm sure this always used to happen on some level, like to some degree, but it has ballooned as an issue in the last little bit of time. I wouldn't be able to tell you for how long for, but it's almost as though the idea is really caught hold, and our industry has been very much sort of like pinpointed and zoomed in on as a good industry for scamming to take place. Basically, they take readers that are trusted in the community, that have quite large public platforms, that have a lot of engagement, and then they they take the images and they steal the copy, and then they start messaging the followers of that public reader as though they are the reader themselves, offering paid services, And it's usually done in a really manipulative way. And this has happened a few different times with me so far. So the first time it happened with me was on YouTube as opposed to Instagram, which is where a lot of the shit seems to be going down more than in any other place. Instagram is rife with it right now. But for me, I remember logging onto YouTube one day to reply to some comments underneath my latest video, and I noticed that somebody was posing as me, and they had a really similar username to me. They'd stolen my profile picture, and they were going through my comments on my latest video saying, like, offering readings, basically saying, I've got a service that would really suit you, get in touch, email me here or whatever, like PayPal me or Venmo me. It was ridiculous. And there was this comment underneath many of my comments, like, this person was replying to my audience members, and sometimes in very manipulative ways. Like if my audience member was sharing something personal, this scammer would come in underneath pretending to be me, saying, like, I've totally got a reading that is for that. We can work on that together. I can heal you. All of this crap that I would never say, and of course, like I had to report this channel, and that channel got deleted quite quickly by YouTube. So that was the first time that it happened to me. Since then, it's happened a few times on Instagram, unfortunately. It happens to me now, like, I don't know, maybe every other week. There is someone that comes along, steals my content, my captions, my picture, gets a username that's as close to mine as possible, and they actually reach out to my followers. I've had so many of my followers message me saying, Kellyanne, a scammer just got in touch with me, posing as you, offering me services, offering me a paid reading. And when I've requested screenshots of these interactions, it makes me feel really quite sick, because the screenshots that come back honestly, sometimes these scammers are quite clever and they really try to make it sound like me. And they have all the like cute little emojis and, you know, just referring to the person as darling or whatever. It's gross and it's kind of scary. So it's becoming more prevalent right now, darlings. Every time it's happened with me, someone has alerted me to it, which is great. And they have also reported the account themselves. Usually I post it on or a few times I've posted it on my stories and asked people to please also report it. Instagram recognizes quite quickly, you know, if you report an account and say this account is pretending to be Kellyanne Maddox, Instagram will quickly get rid of that account. So it's a little bit like playing whack-a-mole, unfortunately. A few people have said to me and to other readers in the community that this is happening to, you know, why don't you lawyer up? Why don't you, you know, take the legal route? But really, it is literally whack-a-mole because the scammers know that what they're doing is absolutely wrong and not okay. And they know that they've only got a certain amount of time to try to get money from someone, some unsuspecting person, before Instagram shuts that shit down. Okay, they know that they don't have very long. And then something else will spring up in a few days' time or a week's time. So there's really no point in you know, spending money to take the legal route with this. It's something that is an issue right now that is really prevalent in our industry. But there's no way I'd be going to a solicitor about any of this crap because the accounts aren't even open for long enough. So that isn't really the problem. It's not that somebody is on there with a really established platform for a long time pretending to be me or ripping off my copy or ripping off my work. These people are only around for the blink of an eye before Instagram gets them and deletes them. So it's more a case of having to be vigilant, having to make sure that we spread the word about the fact that this is happening. And of course, I consistently do request the blue verification tick from Instagram. And I have requested that for a long time. Even before scamming became super prevalent, I felt like the blue tick is there so that you can discern who you are speaking to. And if you have any uncertainty about whether or not the Kellyanne Maddox that you're speaking to is me, you can look up the Kellyanne Maddoxes and see that one of them has a blue tick. So I have been trying to get that blue tick, but Instagram is being very stingy with it, which I think at this point is kind of ridiculous. You know, in this industry, if this is going to be happening all the time, we need those blue ticks as well. Like I said, for me, Instagram have been very quick with getting rid of anything that is, you know, a copycat account, a scammer account pretending to be me, which is a relief. But I do know that there's been a few times recently where readers, astrologers, etc., have had a scammer pretending to be them and they've reported it to Instagram and Instagram have written back to them and said, we have a backlog. We're going to get to it as soon as we can. Which must be so frustrating because you know that there is this scammer ripping off your pictures, ripping off your captions, and actually messaging your followers who trust you, who, you know, engage with your work and pretending to be you. And one of the scariest things about it for me is that there have been followers, not necessarily my followers, but I know that other public figures in this industry have had followers that truly believed that it was that public figure reaching out to them and they were genuinely disappointed to find out that it was a scammer. And I know that there are some people who've been contacted by a scammer and they have parted with money. And those two things freak me out. First of all, the idea that someone could receive a message from someone pretending to be me and think like, oh my God, Kellyanne Maddox like literally has selected me to have this really special reading and she sees something in me that, you know, like I would hate someone to think that I was doing that and that that was me that said that. And then also the idea that they could end up parting with money, that they could, you know, trust me and think that it's me and just go ahead and pay money for this exciting, you know, unique reading. Some of the things that the scammers say can sound quite appealing, you know, like I have just the right thing for you. Spirit encouraged me to reach out to you. I've got this really good feeling that we could work well together. Spirit has messages for you, this kind of thing. So they try to make it enticing. You know, and like I said, I've seen some of the screenshots of what these scammers have been sending to my followers pretending to be me, and it really is, you know, very deflating and very it's frustrating. I'm going to say that. there is a page that has been set up called Scammers Alert page, I think it's called. These two individuals that run this page are amazing. This page is on Instagram. It's an Instagram page that is only for the tarot community, or the sort of that kind of tarot, and I think tarot adjacent type of business owners who are being imitated. They are having their accounts cloned. They are the victims of scammers. I will leave the link down below to that page on Instagram. I really appreciate the people that run that account. I gave the owner of the page a tip the other day for helping me out by sharing something that came into my private messages where a scammer actually made contact with me and tried to manipulate me by saying that they're in financial hardship and that's why they've got to pretend to be me so they can rip off my audience. Shocking. Go down below to have a look at that. Honestly, you will piss and shit to see what this scammer said to me. They tried to video call me at like 3 a.m, by the way. And then I messaged them saying, why the hell would you try to video call me? And they just basically said, I'm in financial hardship, you know, I will close the account. I just needed to make some money. It is a really weird thing. This is a weird fucking time. You know, right now with all of these scammers, it's wild, you know, you couldn't make it up. These wonderful people running Scammers Alert page are doing us a massive service because they are bringing together a body of evidence of like the different accounts that are being scammed. Down below in the description of each post, they explain to you the different account names that the scammers are using so that you can block them and then report them and then block them. And they also give you the link of the real account so that you can actually familiarize yourself with the real reader if you didn't know who they were. This is so brilliant. So please do add them on Instagram. If you find them at all helpful, please do give them a tip. This is like something that they're really putting together off of their own back and just really as a social responsibility to our field. And I think that's really impressive. Also, I've discovered a few amazing readers and spiritual peeps through seeing who the fuck has been scammed and being like, okay, report that scammer, block that scammer, but also, who is this reader? I don't know them. So I've actually discovered a few new amazing people in the community from that page as well. One thing that also is really irritating is that I have actually found for the last few days that I've accidentally ended up following a scammer. So a scammer account will follow me and I'll look at it and be like, oh, that looks like an interesting reader. And I'll go to their account, it looks legit, and then I'll end up following them. But then I go to one of their posts and the comments underneath say, this is a scammer account, don't follow them, they're a scammer account. That's really useful for me because I wouldn't know that otherwise. You know, if you've never come across a reader, you know, a spiritual public figure on Instagram before and they add you and you just think, oh, that looks like a cool account. Of course, you want to add back. You don't know any different. You don't know that they're scammers because they pay for followers. So it looks like they've got quite an established public profile. They pay for a few thousand followers usually. So it looks legit if you don't know the person. So then when I went into the comments and there were people saying, scammer, scammer, don't follow this person, that caused me to then go and like unfollow the scammer and find the real person and then report the scammer and block them. Honestly, it is like whack-a-mole. It's getting ridiculous right now. So as I said, I worry about my followers ending up paying money. I really worry that at some point someone is going to end up getting messaged by a scammer pretending to be me. They're going to think that it's me. They're going to be like, Kellyanne reached out to me personally to have a reading. I'm totally going to pay her for that. That would be awful. So one thing I really want to stress is this is happening. Please be aware that I would never privately solicit for business. It is not how I work, and it is not how the vast majority of people in this industry work. It's not professional to just start reaching out privately to people and saying, oh, Spirit has a message for you. That's just not, it's not a marketing strategy that is ethical, okay? You know, you may find 1 or 2 people in this industry that do it, but the vast majority of us do not do that. The way we market our products and services is through putting posts on social media, explaining what we're offering in our Instagram lives or our YouTube videos or whatever, on our blogs. I do market my stuff, but not in that way, not by messaging people one-on-one. and saying, oh, you'd be a great fit for this thing, or Spirit told me that that it has messages for you. Fuck that. I'm not about that at all. I would never solicit business that way. So please, if anybody messages you like this, let me know the account, block the account, report the account. It's not me. It would never be me. Even with my clientele, if I work with a client for quite a while on and off, and we have like quite a few sessions together and stuff, if they then stop working with me, I don't reach out and ask them, would you like another session? Shall we book you in for something else? What else can I do for you? I accept that they understand the nature of what they need. If I'm not going to see them for a while, I'm not going to see them for a while. Now, there will be instances where I'll reach out to a client because I'm genuinely worried, because the last time I saw them, they might not have been, they might have been going through a lot or whatever. And so I'll reach out as a courtesy and say, hey, are you okay? But even with my like clientele, I never use my list of client emails to say, who wants a reading with me? Or it's been a while since I've seen you. Like sometimes hairdressers do that or whatever. My hairdresser sends out marketing texts to me that say, it's been a while since your last, haircut, Kellyanne. We've got seats free this Saturday or whatever. That's fine for them. They're hairdressers, all right? Like, by all means, fill up your schedule. That's fine. But I don't do that, And I say this to stress to you how against it I really am. I'm against like personal soliciting for business, where you try and cozy up to somebody specifically and apply pressure, apply like social pressure, or try and put yourself in their mind as something they might want to put into their budget when they really weren't thinking about it, and you just came out of the blue and started saying, hey, I'd love to do a reading for you. No, absolutely not. That is not me at all. So if you ever come across that, it's not me. I am a little bit worried about my reputation being tarnished, because I have been reading from certain people in the industry that their reputation has already been tarnished, that somebody has received a message from a scammer, thought that it was from a public figure that they know, and they've gone onto a Facebook group and slagged off that public figure basically, or they've gone to their community online, wherever that is, and badmouthed that public figure, thinking that public figure was sending manipulative marketing messages, not realizing that it was a scammer. So I've definitely seen one or two people in my industry who have said it's already harmed my reputation. I'm already getting badmouthed because people think I'm messaging my followers left, right and center, and it's not me. So that is scary, and that is really, it's so sad that people are having to deal with that right now. And I think as much support as we can give to reputable spiritual workers online would be great right now, because honestly, a lot of us are going through a lot. There's at least one amazing reader that I know on Instagram who has completely left Instagram at this point because they are unable to handle it at the moment. It's really causing them stress. Scammers are really stealing their stuff a lot, and it's causing problems. I know another creator recently who stopped a giveaway because a scammer who had stolen all of her content and set themselves up as her started saying that they were doing the giveaway, and so she just had to stop it. She was like, right, fuck it, you know what, they win, I can't do this is freaking me out, and I'm gonna have to just stop what I'm doing. So it is stopping people, it is stressful for people. And yeah, what happened to me the other night, where I found another scammer who had been messaging my followers. My followers let me know this scammer's been messaging me pretending to be you. I went to their account. I can't tell you how jarring it is to see all of your photos from your Instagram stolen and posted in the exact same formation on this fake account with your name on it, the name of the book that you published on it, the description that you give of yourself in your bio. They've stolen it all. It's weird. It feels surreal, and you get territorial. You can't help but take it a bit personally. It's so fucking rude. Oh my God. Anyway, I went there, I left a comment saying scammer, whatever. I was angry. It was 3 a.m, okay? I wasn't particularly angry. I was just up, but I've had enough of this. I've had a gutful of it. I'm so annoyed. This is This is literally probably like the 6th or 7th time it's happened. And then I reported them, and then before I could block them, they tried to call me, and then we had this exchange that like, I'll leave down below. But yeah, that kind of thing it's trying. It's really trying, for sure. If you want to help in any way, go to Scammers Alert page and look through, see who you can report and block, because they're giving information about scammer accounts that you can go and report and block, and it makes Instagram deal with those accounts and delete them more quickly, which is amazing. What else can you do? Always just, if you are messaged by anyone and you're not sure, check the username, and then if you can, let that public figure know, like, hey, somebody just messaged me, this is a screenshot, so that they can see the name of the account, and then of course report it and block it. Sorry, I think I've already said that, but just hammering home what you can do to help in this ridiculous situation. I don't know what kind of thing Instagram are likely to have to put in place to stop this from happening. My deepest worry is that it's going to be something that affects actual legitimate businesses and public figures, rather than being something that deters scammers. I really hope not. I really hope that Instagram are not going to start putting restrictions on people like me, who just like run a business and have a creative platform online and share my message and share my work. I hope that the hammer's not going to come down on me with what I can share or what I can do or whatever. In order to deter the scammers from imitating me as a money-making device. I want the scammers to be the ones that find it really difficult and give up and realize like it's not a good avenue. I don't want this to affect readers and spiritual business owners who are just like doing completely ethical work, and they have a dedicated following and they're really like giving of themselves. I don't want us to be the ones that suffer, but we will see. This problem is growing exponentially. I'm sure Instagram already recognize that it's an issue. They're going to have to put something into play. I cannot pretend to know what that will be. What I will say is that people have reached out to me asking if I'm okay, lending support, really showing compassion towards me for being in the situation where people are imitating me and pretending to be me asking for money. And I want to say thank you so much to people, especially a couple of people who messaged me the other night at 3 a.m. after I got messages from the scammer, and I posted them on my stories. People were being so supportive, and I really appreciate that, because I did need to have a little bit of a vent at the time, and you were really there for me to vent. But don't worry about it, to be honest with you, for me, being ripped off wholesale, being like completely somebody stealing my identity or completely plagiarizing my work wholesale, like stealing, for example, an entire blog post or whatever, that is always less stressful to me than somebody just really, really closely imitating me, but not necessarily full-on plagiarizing. That this will always be easier to deal with, because this is just straight up bullshit. It's not like, it doesn't get to my heart in the same way. Years ago, I had a situation where a new creator in the community, who's not in the community anymore, they don't make content anymore, but a new creator came into the community and very quickly credited me as being one of their inspirations and one of the reasons that they started in tarot and started a business. And I thought, that's lovely. It's always really lovely when people say that to me, and I really appreciate knowing that I've been instrumental in somebody's journey in this way. However, unfortunately, it became very apparent to me over a number of weeks that I was blogging regularly at that time, and they really were just paying way too much attention to my blog. It wasn't out and out wholesale plagiarism, and that's the thing. If it's that, at least you can go straight to the creator and be like, you've literally ripped off my whole blog post, please take that down, right? It's easier, it's more simple, it's straightforward. No one can argue with that you've been totally plagiarized, right? What's more difficult is when somebody is technically writing their own blog post, yes, but they're taking your sayings that you say that nobody else says. They're explaining and breaking down the cards in the way that you just did, that was quite innovative and quite different, and they've basically just taken it and slightly reworded it, but essentially it's the same. That is far more offensive to me. That hits far more personally to me. because that is something that is almost like gaslighting in a sense. You look at it and you think, should I go to that creator and say that like this is too much like my work, or would they come back at me and be like, this is nothing to do with your work, I've never seen your work before? So it becomes a little bit more psychologically fraught for me. Whereas somebody just straight up fucking committing identity fraud, like fully just pretending to be me and using my pictures, yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it is worrying for me from a business perspective and from the perspective of people that might be scammed. But emotionally, it's much more clear cut for me. You know, what I struggle with more is like people just kind of taking too much, basically crossing the line from being inspired by me to just imitating me too closely. And that's happened, and that's definitely far worse. I've had a situation in the past, you know, and it's completely behind me now, but I had a situation where a creator literally just changed their entire image, channel, content, video titles pretty much the same as mine, catalogue of videos the same as mine, changed their hair, changed their wardrobe, started wearing like really similar clothes to me, literally ordered a few basically the same dresses as what I was wearing. This was stressful. I didn't like it, and I didn't get in touch with that creator about it, but I and many others saw it, and you know, that creator a long time afterwards actually did own up to that and apologise to me and say like, that was not cool, I don't really know what was going on there, and I forgave and forgot, you know, that's fine, we put it behind us. But like that kind of thing is way more insidious to me, where it's like, you know, people are actually going to that person saying, stop basically impersonating Kellyanne, and that person is like, I'm not impersonating Kellyanne. Like, that's just gaslighting, and it's weird, and it's like very uncomfortable. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not talking about when people talk about the same things as I do, right? Like, there's lots of people in the community that talk about shadow work, for example, or talk about, you know, self-love or whatever. I'm not talking about that. Like, a lot of us talk about similar kinds of things, and I'm happy to have people that also talk about those kinds of things. You know, I don't want to be alone in that sandpit. I'm talking about people that literally look like rip off the way that I say things. Like, it's just, that to me is the way more difficult thing. If someone just straight up rips off something wholesale, at least like that is just obvious, and we can deal with that really simply, because I can just be like, that is mine. No. And so in this instance with what's happening with IG, that's more the thing, is like, obviously they're breaking the rules and being ridiculous, and obviously we're just going to get rid of that account. So it's not as psychologically confusing for me. I've actually been accused of like copying a couple of times that is straight up ridiculous. Like, once a long time ago, somebody messaged me saying that I'd stolen the term card slinger from another witch in the community who was using it in their videos. Like, I love that everybody grabbed onto card slinger. I think that's fucking great. But I used it first. I named an episode. I started a series called Card Slinger, and like said, I like the idea of being called a card slinger, like a gunslinger, you know, or whatever like this. I like that term, and people started using it. And like, that is one thing that I will say, I originated that. Okay, that was me. And yeah, this person was just like, you're using this thing that this other witch came up with. And I was like, I thought to myself, should I send this person the video from 2 years previously where I used the term card slinger? But I was like, you know what, I can't be fucking arsed. And the other witch that was using it, I love their work. I want that. It's fine that they use the term card slinger for their video title, not a problem. But the person that came to me and made the assumption that I copied was just like, that was so difficult. Somebody else messaged me not long ago saying that I had stolen the term spiritual anarchist from another person in the community. No. My tagline when I first started my business was spiritual anarchist. It was like creatrix, mystic, spiritual anarchist. I've always used that term. I don't know if the other person using that term now is doing it in homage to me, or if they came up with it off their own back, or whatever that might be. And you know what? I don't mind. It's totally fine. I don't think I have some intellectual, like, you know, right over that term. But it was just really scary to see how quickly people make a mistake when it comes to someone copying. because I was like, I used that term like for ages, for years in my business, and just because it's not in my tagline anymore doesn't mean that I don't regularly use it to describe myself. That's something that I very much formulated ages ago, long before this other witch had a business, you know, that's using it now. And again, it's fine that they're using it. It's just funny that like people can make mistakes when it comes to accusing people of copying, and it really hurts. I've had a couple of situations in my time on YouTube where I've made a video about something, and before I've had a chance to upload it, I've gone on my YouTube feed and another witch has made a video about the exact same topic, and I'm like, no way, no way. And I've messaged them and I've just been like, hey, just to let you know, I've made a video about the same thing. I don't know how this happened. Usually we conclude that it's something to do with astrology. But yeah, that's happened. And I know it's the same with me, where sometimes I've put a video out and a creator has messaged me or come in my comments and been like, oh, Kellyanne, I've done a video on this too. Please don't think I was copying you. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It happens. Like, it's just weird. Sometimes something's in the water and lots of us want to talk about it at once, and it's fine. So I do try not to be overly, like, you know, very quick to accuse somebody of impersonating or copying or ripping me off. But like, look, there's been a couple of times it has blatantly been happening to me over quite a long period of time, and it is not comfortable. It is not comfortable, and it is for sure a form of gaslighting in a way, you know, because it's almost like this thing of, you can't really come to me about this because I've done just enough so that it's still my content, but basically I'm being you. That's uncomfy, and I've experienced that. That was a lot worse for me. So this stuff I can handle. It's ridiculous, but the main thing I worry about, darlings, is how many people that follow me have thought that the message they got from a scammer was from me. That's really worrying, and that's one of the reasons I'm putting this video out, to try and clear up that confusion. Please, goddess. And also, I'm worried about somebody just parting with money, thinking they're going to get a reading from me. I am worried about it. Okay, that's enough now from me. I would love to hear down below in the comments from anybody who has like received a message from a scammer and knew straight away it was a scammer. Were you confused? Like, did you look at the username and figure it out? Has anybody actually lost money to a scammer? You know, if you want to vent, have a vent. If you're a creator and you have found that a scammer is like impersonating you and it's been a nightmare, you know, like, let's have a vent down below, because this is just outrageous, and like, the sooner it comes to an end the better. My goddess. Okay, that's it. That's all from me. Please do not forget, I do not privately solicit for business. I will not message you at any time and tell you that I think spirit needs to bring us together for a reading and I want you to fucking, you know, put some money in my account. That would never happen. I've never done that, and I never would. Okay, much love, darlings, and blessed be. Mwah.